because they're trying to find different ways around all the other laws they're having to deal with.
Well,
that's right. A bunch of shit's fixing to start or did start or.
Well, I have restarted it and it says we're live. I'm going to click this button here.
We're live again.
We seem to be live again.
Looks like we're live.
This will definitely not be a DVR episode because it's butchered across 4 different. So I'll have to download everything and put it back together. But here's hoping that we'll be okay for now. That everyone is got no. It says drop. I think part of the problem is Streamlabs. I don't know what the hell it is. Drop frames detected 30% over last 2 minutes. Like, what the hell?
Doesn't Streamlabs have something built in, though, that, like, keeps the stream going?
It's supposed to. Well, how's it? It looks like everything's okay, so we're going to keep going. Apologies to anyone watching, because it's raining, which is a mild inconvenience to most people, but my internet cannot stand it whenever it rains. But it's just one of the perks / disadvantages living out in the boonies. So anyway, what I was asking before all this happened with all this stuff was, Steven, is the KFC console the way that you get into PC gaming finally? Like, for real?
Fuck no. Use my French. No. I am dead set on doing this the traditional way.
Not extra crispy?
No. I don't even eat KFC.
He said traditional.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way, and going to wait until my taxes hit, and then I'm going to have one built. I don't know, like, I'd like the go get 'em attitude that they got going with it, but no, this just I mean, if they were partnering with someone, that's
they did.
Cool.
Cooler Master.
Like, I mean, like, how much of the shares are they going to own, though? You know, that type of deal.
I mean,
like, how much of this company are they
going to own? They've done something out of the box with marketing.
Out of the
So
box
they're hyping this up. I mean, they kind of had some input with the overall, the chassis of the console. And then the other people kind of get their share, Cooler Master, Intel. Let me look it up real quick. Who else was part of that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see where this goes because, maybe it is something that could change the game, but it's not going to be something that's going to change the game for me. It's just too weird. And I may have been joking about it.
Microcomputer.
I may have been joking about it and everything, but I still feel like that's an electrical fire waiting to happen.
Yeah, kind of. Like
Steven wants a PC that's Nashville hot.
Yes.
Are you gonna bring it to him, Santa? Imagine it's 2020 and Santa still uses wired headphones.
He should have been.
I gotta avoid the brain tumors, man. I totally buy into that. I'm not plugging cancer sticks into my ears.
Is that why? Are you ever gonna get a 5G phone? Probably not, because it'll give you COVID.
Probably not. Yeah, you gotta stay away from that COVID, man.
Couple really quick things. Other than Phil Spencer, who is Richard's favorite person, I think probably next on that list is Doug Bowser, who is the head of Nintendo of America. Because Richard has a very love-hate relationship with Nintendo, and
that's true. That's true.
Earlier this week, he had an interview with Polygon.com where they were really pressuring him to answer some of these questions about the future of the Switch and kind of like why the Mario 35th anniversary collection and all that stuff like ends on March 31st. And the big takeaway from that was the fact that they may just be PR speak, but they don't appear to be actually working on a Nintendo Switch Pro like many people thought that they may be doing. So we may be stuck with the current version of the Switch for a couple more years before they finally decide to do that. So, Richard, since you are the love hater of Nintendo, do you really think that the Switch can keep its own going up against these next gen systems without getting any kind of upgrades?
No, not at all. It's like the Switch can barely play like. It's so weird. I'm so used to saying current, but I guess current is now what we considered next just a few weeks ago. The last gen, they have a hard enough time trying to run those things, let alone trying to run anything that's going to come out over the next next few years.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not working on an upgrade to the Switch, which, I don't, man, I'm kind of burned out on for whatever reason. I know it's probably not accurate, but I feel like I have bought more consoles from Nintendo than I have Sony and Microsoft. I feel like they release them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of burnt out on that. That burns a hole in your pocket. And the payoff has not been that great as of late. The only thing I can figure they can do is if they're going to keep this console, then they're going to have to, either license out something. I mean, they're going to have to bring more content than what they do. Because the stuff they got now, I feel like it's the same stuff. Smash has this huge following. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I do realize how big of a following it has. But, they've already got that Smash crowd. They're already there.
Right.
There's nothing going on that they're bringing new people in. And I mean, I don't know what the answer to that is, but yeah, if they want to compete, which part of me says they don't really want to compete because they kind of have their own niche appeal. But I mean, if they want to still stay relevant, yeah, they got to bring more people in. Give other people a reason to get a Switch.
Well, if they're not going to continue to upgrade it, what if they the next step for the Switch is to do a lot more cloud streaming and stuff like that, so that way it can keep up?
Yeah, that's going to increase the cost of membership, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking.
But
they
that's all going to be
with the internet companies too. Like we were just talking about, Comcast. Is going to limit all their customers to. Okay, I actually did find out it was 1.2 terabytes a month.
Yep.
What's weird is, years back, Comcast did that. They had like a data cap on the monthly, and then it's like they got rid of it, and now it's come back again.
They did. They last time I lived in an apartment, they had I think it was 250 gigs, and then they jumped it to a terabyte, and then, yeah. I thought that was the best thing. I was like, oh my god, I can watch so much TV. And then every roommate I had was like, we can all watch Hulu in our own bedrooms. And then next thing you know, we were creeping right up on that data cap every month. And it was just like, between that and downloading games between like the 4 consoles that we had.
Yeah.
It was nuts. Like I got the first time living where I'm at now, I got my first email from Comcast saying, you need to slow down. Was because when I got the Series X and I just started downloading all my games back to it.
Well, I mean, and like my situation, like I was, before we started the show, I was having trouble with downloading Genshin. I must have re-downloaded that thing like 4 or 5 times before I finally got it set up right where it would actually work on my computer before I figured out the problem. And it wasn't like any fault of the Genshin website or MiHoYo, but just just an app on my computer. And I mean that's 100 gigabytes right there.
Yeah, I have an announcement. I was cleaning off my hard drive earlier, and I may have uninstalled Genshin Impact finally.
Uninstalled?
Uninstalled it.
Well, you would be happy to know that once you reach rank 5, you get basically a comeback welcome because you haven't played in so many days. So you get a bunch of free content if you haven't been playing.
Okay.
Ooh,
Definitely loading that up tonight.
yeah. Well, the
think you
update, I
had
took
to
the
have,
update
You
today.
had not played, like, I want to say it said 45 days, which seems a little extreme, so I'm not sure if I'm accurate on that. But still, it kind of
Yeah,
entices people to
because
come back. There's new content.
I
And with this update, they're not burning anybody who's been playing because I have so many characters, like, leveled up. And I'm able to go back and claim all the rewards for those leveled up characters. They're releasing the little I guess like gems or jewels that you can use for summoning, like doing the wishes,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for just leveling up the character. So that's nice.
Nicole has called me or says shameful. So
I know.
it's just how it is. Like I've
Well, let's be honest. You don't play it. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
you don't play it. There's
Well,
no reason
Not
to
like
have
us
it.
true weebs.
Well, while we're at it, I may have also uninstalled Let It Die.
But you don't play it.
Since we're going around the list of
Hey,
telling people I installed their favorite games. Oh, go ahead. What?
I reached floor 40 today, so I am at the last
awesome.
boss of Let It Die.
How do you feel?
I'm gonna prep for a few days before I go in there, so
Do some stretches.
see how it goes. Well, no, I'm working on a tier 3 armor set of this really cool different. I need to upgrade a little bit before I take him on.
Nice.
Well.
Nice.
I was gonna say before since I'm going around the list, just telling people I uninstall games. I was gonna tell Steven I installed Modern Warfare, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I really
Like
thought
you're
about
uninstalling all of our hearts. What are you doing?
If that was going to be the case, I was going to accidentally uninstall Master Chief Collection, and we call it even.
it. Oh, yikes! Just uninstall State of Decay 2 and call it a day. That game's awesome. Speaking of awesome games, though, the holiday season is about coming. Just I don't know the best way to put it, but you stay home and you chill and you kind of play a lot of your old favorites, I guess, because I mean you probably spend a good chunk of time playing the new stuff, like Richard's playing Assassin's Creed and Immortals. I'm playing Cyberpunk, but you always, I don't know, it's me personally, I always seem to find time to go back and replay the old classics, which actually I haven't started it yet, but I've really got this itch to go back and play the original Legend of Zelda on the Switch using the NES Online thing. So no, I thought it'd be interesting for everybody just kind of, if you have a game, it's actually Richard's idea, kind of just have a game where we, just, I don't know, Richard, can you kind of your little spitball idea from earlier, just reminiscing on old games?
I think I shot off 3. I guess one of them, the one that you're referring to, I guess, is I was talking about something that you just always come back to, no matter what, and no matter how many times, you've put hours and hours into it, and maybe it's something that's huge and well known, maybe it's not, maybe it's not like a AAA title, maybe it's a really old game, maybe it's not a really old game, you just you have a hard time separating yourself from it, or just for whatever reason. Is there a game that, I guess even a better way to put it, is there a game, now you wouldn't be able to know this, but 5 years from now, wherever you may be, is there a game that you would think that you would still be playing 5 years from now?
Well, while we're getting ready to spout off our responses, if anyone in the chat has that game that you resonate with, that go ahead and let us know in the comments. Be interested to see how diverse this list of games is. Steven, do you want to go first?
I speak about it a lot. Chrono Trigger. Of course, there's many different endings to that game. Unfortunately, I didn't discover it when it was on Super Nintendo. I discovered it when it came to the 3DS, I believe. And I've been in love with it ever since. I always go back to it. Sometimes I'll run this exact same routes, trying to find new areas that I didn't find before, new items, seeing if there's a quicker way to get through Lavos. And I just love it. And I've watched theories on it, and how it's supposed to closely resemble um, Jesus and the disciples, apostles.
Mhm.
You get the picture. Um, Also, another game that I'm going back to is The World Ends With You. I don't know if you guys heard of that one.
I have heard of
By
that.
Square Enix. Yeah. So they released it on the Switch, and I don't want to buy it online because that's $60. I don't want it, $40, somewhere in there. I don't want to spend. I was trying to find a used copy, but alas, there's not a copy in Tennessee. At least by GameStop's records, there's not one in Tennessee. But I fell in love with that one. I fell in love with the tracks, the storyline on it. Um, it knows how to put you in that fight or flight mode. It knows how to keep you sympathetic on the sad storylines and the sob tales. It gives you a character to hate. It gives you a character to love. Um, and the art style is awesome. It gives you that um, jet grind radio sort of feel to it, and I just absolutely loved it. I beat it countless amounts of times. I believe I burned out the screen on my very first DS playing that game.
Real
That's
quick,
hard to
Yeah,
do.
I think if I remember correctly, I know The World Ends With You. It's good. It's a remix, right? It's like a final remix or something like that. What it's called? I believe it was a digital only title, and then whatever company it was that was doing those limited run steelbook or those collector cases, is how it was why it's a physical version out there, and that's probably why it's so hard to find it, is because it was like a very limited run. So you may end up having to buy it digitally if you want to get it.
Well, if I got to, I got to. I've got the space for it.
Okay.
It really does. I love that art style.
Yes, that art style is just pops out at you. It's amazing.
Yeah. I've never heard of this.
Yes. Oh, well, I'm 2 for 2 now. Speaking of which, I'm going back to Shatterhand now. I've been listening to the soundtrack on it, and I have yet to beat that game, but I think I'm going to try to give it a shot to beat that game before the year's out.
All right.
But yeah.
Michael, what's your game that you resonate with like that?
I'm not sure what name you said. You kind of broke up right
I
there.
believe it was yours.
I was calling for you.
Okay. It's probably gonna be a toss up. And No Man's Sky would edge it out. I think I really connected with that. On a deeper level than I probably should. Because my game glitched out at one point and I was stranded on a planet.
I remember that.
And so, yeah. I was stranded not on any planet, but like this desolate planet where there was no materials whatsoever. And the way it had glitched out, I didn't have my ship. No other ships would appear. And I couldn't find any sort of bases or anything to even have one land close to me. Like, there was no trading post, no nothing on this planet. So I was just roaming for like hours and hours on end. And the only thing that would pop up were these giant circles, like these towering circular buildings that just had lore. Just lore about the game and who you are and as a traveler. And like, I really got sucked into it. So I basically found all the lore until the only thing it would say is just error, error, error. Whenever you tried to find a new circle to get more lore.
How did you end up getting off the planet?
They did a major update, and I guess because of that major update, I actually just appeared at the closest space station in the space station, so I was able to teleport to my home planet and find my ship and play normally.
Do your Tom Hanks for a little while, man.
It was.
Little
I
island.
fucking was.
This little Wilson.
That's awesome.
I finally got enough crafted materials after finding this tiny little pond and having to like mine these tiny little pebbles for like 1 zinc apiece. until I was finally able to like craft I think it was like a rover, like your basic car, and then still just hours and hours and hours of traveling and nothing.
Wow. Richard, before I get to yours, Nicole says most definitely Medal of Honor is what got her into shooting games, wore that game out. And then when she got caught, she was ready for it. Nice. I've never played Medal of Honor. Oh, I was straight into Call of Duty. Yeah. Richard, what's your game?
I'm going to have to say I'm going to say it wrong because I prefer to say it wrong. It's definitely Terraria. It's actually pronounced Terraria, but it's it's basically, I don't really, because it gets compared to this so much that
Right.
it's kind of like the 2D Minecraft. And yeah, I wouldn't call it that at all. It's got so much more content. It has the level of content that I wish Minecraft had. Where it's 2D, there's also when it comes to combat, there's more strategy and stuff like that goes along with it. But they're pre-generated worlds, and you can build just like you can in Minecraft. You harvest resources, you can make different types of armor sets. But as far as content goes, they've regularly updated this over the past. Well, my daughter's 7. I played it before her, so almost a decade. Almost a decade worth of content that's always been free. And it's not hit the consoles yet, but the final update called Journey's End did hit the PC on this past summer. And I have it on PC. I play it on PlayStation. I have it on consoles as well. I bought it on the Xbox. I had it for everything. And it's just, you start a new world, you go into it, and the sky's the limit. You can build what you want. You have to... I think another aspect that I really enjoy that, again, I wish Minecraft would kind of envelop some of these ideas, is that, you have to build cities and housing for these NPCs. And they're very specific NPCs. They're not, randomly just like a villager. There's shopkeepers and there's, dryads and, different kinds of characters. And it's always a new experience. There's always something new to do. And it's just a boatload of content, and it's always fun. I've never had a bad time.
I feel that my pick is definitely Banjo-Kazooie, and like I can never just have a bad time. Like there's no way to be in a bad mood and play Banjo-Kazooie.
True.
Like it's just I don't know, Grant Kirkhope's music and the rare storytelling back in the good old days on the N64. Like there's for me there's just nothing that even comes close. Not even Nuts and Bolts, which we don't talk about.
I think that's the only one I've played is Nuts and Bolts.
Really?
We're not going to talk
Yeah.
about that.
No. All right. Richard, I'm going to keep jumping off all these suggestions you had.
Oh, okay.
Games that you've always wanted but didn't get, but only because they were never created. I'll quickly
deep.
answer this one. Banjo 3E. Never got it. They teased it at the end of Banjo 2E. They said, Grunty was like, I'll get you back in Banjo 3E. And then it never happened. But, so, mine's out of the way. Steven, let's go back to you.
Come back to me. I need time to think on that.
Okay. Michael.
I feel like I almost have it. It's almost there.
No Man's Sky 2.
I almost might even just try to make it myself at this point. Like a true Pokemon MMO. Like I got really inspired by like the story arc with Brock, how he wanted to become a Pokemon doctor, and I was like, what if like you could just go on journeys with like your group of chosen friends, and you each have like a perk. So you're not just leveling up your Pokemon, you're leveling up yourselves as well. And that perk, you can team up and you can take on dungeons. And so like the concept is almost there with the new Pokemon and Temtem, but like it's just not quite there.
I wish Game Freak would take a couple years off and like redo Pokemon instead of just keep reusing the same formula for the most part, and then do something like that. It would be so great.
Yeah. Like a Pokemon MOBA or something.
No. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the Pokemoba. Richard, since it's your thought, I'm assuming you have a good one.
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's considered a good one. It's a good one to me. I was a kid of the '80s, and when it comes to things that were born from the '80s, just about all of them have seen really good rebirths. Ghostbusters had like a really good, here recently they had the game that came out, and another movie coming out next year. The all female cast, I enjoyed that for what it was. I know that it got hammered. I don't know what the deal was there. It got hammered bad, but I got it. I mean, you can't go in with no expectations. Turtles has been rebooted I don't know how many times, and it's always been positive. You have Turtles games, Turtles cartoons, everything's great. But my one love from the 80s they've attempted to reboot it a few times, and it's always fallen on its face. But it's about to be rebooted by Netflix, and I have really high hopes. And that's He-Man.
Mice on Mars. Oh.
No, it's He-Man. It's He-Man. And I just always thought, man, because that world is so weird, because you've got this weird Conan-like guy, but then it's on this planet, and everything's kind of fantasy, but then it's sci-fi, and it's odd. It's very strange. And there's so much that you could do with it, and there's so much you could do with combat. There's so many different characters. I felt like He-Man now, all right, granted, there's like, I don't know if you guys, I think it's still popular. It's called Tap Titans for mobile. Okay. There is a tap game, like Tappers of Grayskull or something like that. But I mean, those aren't real games. Let's face it. I mean, like a real honest to God He-Man
Don't
game.
listen.
Yeah, it's like David would disagree with you. David will sit there.
Oh my God. I remember sitting with him on break in the break room, and like you're trying to talk to him, he's just
David could be
playing on the damn.
David could be playing a game on his Xbox and also playing a game on his Switch in handheld mode and tapping away at that stupid phone game at the same time. Like dude is a multitasker like no one else's business. But
stand by what I said. They're not real games. The tappers are not real games. But yeah, I want a He-Man game. And you could do it so many different ways. Hell, you could do it retro. You could do it current. It could be AAA. It could be awesome.
Yeah.
Netflix has done She-Ra, and I watch it with my daughter, and it's actually really good.
I like She-Ra.
And what really pisses me off about it, though, is that they keep eluding these little hints that, like, drifting toward He-Man, but they won't just come out and say it. So it's like, But apparently He-Man's coming. And if it's anything like the She-Ra cartoon, it should go over really, really well. And then maybe I'll get my game. I don't know.
I mean, they did do a Dark Crystal game, so
Yeah.
Well, I want it to do well, though. I want it to do well, though.
We don't have to talk about the Dark Crystal game. It's okay. Steven, were you able to come up with one?
Legend of Dragoon 2. This was originally came out in 2000. Sony Entertainment. I'm not sure who else was in it. But the storyline went over 4 discs. I think the final boss, his name was Belmu Framus, if I'm saying that correct. And I mean, for what it's worth, the graphics were okay. It wasn't like a Spyro or Crash Bandicoot on the PlayStation. It was pixely as hell, and it was just shapes more so than anything. But like the storyline was great. It was intense boss battles, even though it was turn-based. It was intense boss battles. There was no bullshitting your way through a boss fight. Either you had the right equipment to fight them, or you got your ass kicked and you had to go back and grind some. And it throws me in mind with the Golden Sun series by Camelot. I wish they would come out with another one because with the Golden Sun, like the world just went from shit to shittier. And like with those types of things, it pretty much had said like when the lighthouses were lit, it pretty much brought an end to the world. In the first game, they were going to stop it. In the second game, they went along with it and lit all of the lighthouses. And in the third game, they're dealing with the wreckage of the past, and then they were hinting that there was a way to fix this, but now there's no fourth game. And I'm like, I would really love to see what's going on with that. I don't know if they don't have the resources for it. I don't know how well Dark Dawn it did, but it feels like I'm not going to get another game on that because that one came out on the DS. And we all know how remakes and remasters work.
Any game that gets sequels on the DS, they've been left to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at you, Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
But Phantom Hourglass wasn't that bad.
Spirit Tracks was terrible.
Yes.
Can I interrupt on something that's completely unrelated? Because I've been looking at it the whole time, and it's really throwing me off.
Wait,
Michael, it looks like someone's standing with her or his back to us, like right behind you back there.
Oh, I know.
They're wearing like a black hoodie and like a little floral print skirt.
See, this
like, what
is my microphone.
Wow, man, yeah, the way that's okay. Mystery solved. Okay, please continue. Sorry.
How's this? There's somebody standing next to me too.
No, it's definitely not the effect that Michael has going on. But I've been leaning. I was like, what the hell is that?
You had me thinking somebody was just standing
perfectly
in his
still.
Somebody was standing in his door frame.
Yeah,
just
see, it was
like
creeping me out.
Well, I'm gonna throw another one out there. I'm not like the biggest fan of this franchise, but I feel like it's like long overdue for a new one. And like, what happened to Castlevania? Like, can we get a new Castlevania
game?
Yeah. Like I feel like, I mean, I love the anniversary collection, but I just feel like we need more. I guess a reboot, really. I mean, like I said, I'm not into it, but
as you know, prior to Assassin's Creed, Castlevania was my favorite series of all time. It was actually the very first Nintendo game I ever owned. I'm going to say I know a little bit about it. Basically what happened there is you had, I don't want to butcher his name. I just call him Iga. He ended up leaving Konami along with, the hell was that? Along with,
the elves got loose.
That's my DJ Roomba's like acting crazy.
Beautiful.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, so he left and he made his own thing, which is currently out now. They're called Bloodstain. He's done what I would consider a AAA title that was multi-platform. And then they're both multi-platform. Then he's done two separate titles that are in the same vein of like Castlevania 3. And those are relatively good. They're not Castlevania. They have vampires in them, but it's more towards like alchemy and stuff like that. I mean, it's basically his re-envisioning of what he did. And he was the one that really, I mean, Castlevania was starting to fade a little bit, and then he came out with Symphony of the Night, and that really bolstered, the series back up. But after he left, and there was that brief period, Mercury Steam, which was, I think that studio was over in Spain. They did Lords of Shadow, which was a complete reimagining of Castlevania. And they did it in kind of like the same method of God of War with that sort of combat style. And, oh man, 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It was an epic masterpiece. It was beautiful. It really was. I would go back and play that again. Then they made the second one. You can kind of piece together what happened. The guy that directed the first game basically said that the success of the first one was just because of him. And he turned into this huge asshole.
Oh, no.
And you had like people in the art department was leaving, half the studio left by the time the game came out. And it's so weird because if you play the second Lords of Shadow, you can almost see when everybody started quitting, because you get about halfway through the game and all of a sudden, like, the art and just the design of it, everything just starts falling off.
Oh, wow.
And then after that, it kind of sits. But now there's a lot that's sitting with Konami right now. That Nicole just mentioned Silent Hill. Silent Hill is sitting just kind of vacant with Konami. Contra just put one out recently, but I don't know. They need to change the Contra mechanic up a little bit.
It's just a Contra collection.
Well, they did a Contra collection, but then they did an actual new one. It's one of those 2.5 scroller type deals.
Okay.
I mean, I think it was just a digital release. I mean, it was okay, but Contra needs something else brought to the table at this point, because now it's just too much of the same. But there's so many Konami franchises, and they're just, I don't know what Konami's doing right now. I really don't.
Aren't they just making
pinball
machines?
I know the best way to reboot
Are they the ones doing
Castlevania?
Pachinko?
Yeah.
Rare created title, first person, and it's a mixture of Doom Eternal and Dark Souls.
Hmm.
Isn't that Perfect Dark?
Shut up.
I've often said that Castlevania would do well at the Dark Souls treatment.
Yeah.
I really think it would.
Or
so you got like first person, like the whip and everything. Like, it would be awesome.
I don't know if they've ever done a first person. I remember when they made the jump to 3D, Castlevania 64. Everybody hated that game. I liked it for some strange reason.
And they might have wanted the Metroidvania, but I would assume it would handle pretty well, like close to like Metroid Prime, but then just have a lot of those elements from those other games.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever see it.
I would like to see them. You said that they already kind of did that God of War thing, but like really just go for it. Like, go all the way in with the God of War treatment for Castlevania. I think that would come out really well.
Did you play through Lords of Shadow?
No.
You should get it on Steam.
Okay.
It still holds up. It really does. It's an amazing. Just the first one. Pretend like they didn't make a second one.
Okay.
Even though the first one ends at sort of a cliffhanger, just be like, wow, that was a great story. I wish they'd have continued it.
It's like you make your own ending, like when Game of Thrones ended with its 6th season and we don't talk about the other two.
Well, what's weird is, they made Lords of Shadow 1 and 2, but in between those they made a roller, almost like the classic ones that kind of link the two stories together, and that one's actually pretty decent too. It's just that official second one that, man.
Real quick before we jump off this, I remember someone talking about a game that they thought deserved another game in this series. Link's Crossbow Training 2.
Yeah.
I totally buy it. Apparently, the game actually was in development. It was funny because I saw that, and then about a couple hours later, I was looking at Did You Know Gaming, and they were talking about Zelda development stuff, and apparently Link's Crossbow Training 2 was in development. They had planned on adding like online multiplayer and everything to it.
Oh, wow.
And then the higher ups in Nintendo were like, no, make Twilight Prince or make a Skyward Sword. So bad decision. Skyward Sword was terrible. Hot take.
Wait, but before we move on, there's one more thing that I'd like to bring up that I just thought about. And I was trying to find who did it, but I guess that's not important. On the last gen of consoles, when The Force Awakens came out, there was a company that came along and they ported Super Star Wars over to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and all that stuff. And that was a huge series back on the Super Nintendo. You had Super Star Wars, Super Empire Star. I mean, God, the pixel art was fabulous. I mean, the way it played, it told the story really well. They were really, really fun. They were just awesome Star Wars games. And the way that I understood it is that, they put out Super Star Wars when The Force Awakens came out. And then they were going to do the other two and kind of almost coincide them with the rest of the releases. We only ever got Super Star Wars. And they magically just stopped.
Well, write a letter to them. Actually,
Yeah, I was
it's
trying to
EA.
find out. Well, I don't know if this is Disney's fault or because Disney got rid of Disney Interactive, but it wasn't Disney Interactive that did it.
Hmm.
I don't know, I'm going to look into it right now.
Well, I guess we'll just do this last one. This was the suggestion from Steve. We had a good labbing session in our little chat earlier today because Mitch got stuck at work and didn't have time to make show notes. So we're doing this very unconventional structure for this. But Steven, you suggested games that we play around the holidays. I think that's a really good one. So, Michael, what's a good game to play around the holidays?
I would like to say all of them, but Animal Crossing. I mean, they really, no matter which one you pick, they really make a thing of it. I mean, all the trees get decorated. There's usually an event. You can make snowmen. Animal Crossing.
Yeah. I'd say, well, given it was any year other than this year, even though most people probably don't really follow it to the extent, I think just in general, like games you can play, like couch co-op games with like your family are really good. Like holiday type games because everyone's like on break and everything, and you just kind of there was somebody Genshin Impact in the chat. Anyway, this couch co-op games like personally, if I had a family of gamers, we'd be playing Smash constantly, especially since a new character just came out. But like your Mario parties and your Mario Karts and maybe Jackbox Party Pack games, stuff like that. Anything you can do to like hang out at home. Even what is that bomb defusing game that's like a mobile game that you can throw on your TV? You know what I'm talking about? It's like keep talking and nobody explodes. I think
Yes,
that's what
I
it's
have
called.
that.
Yeah.
That and even Among Us. Like, I mean, I think it'd be kind of stupid for 10 people to sit in a living room and all be on their phones playing a game together. But I mean, to each their own. Even into some capacity, I think Fall Guys is almost a good game if you can find a way to, maybe even if you just like a game where you take turns or something. I don't know. Yeah, like Nicole said, anything on the Wii, pretty much. Yeah, Wii bowling. I mean, who doesn't love Wii bowling? Steven, do you have any good picks, or did I just kind of ramble off everything on the list?
So my pick is a bit unorthodox for the specifications on it, but I was thinking Super Mario World on the Super Nintendo. Only because back when Christmas time rolled around, when I stayed in Detroit at the young age, it was always fun. The grown-ups, they would have one of the living rooms, and we would have the other living room / dining room. And we brought our Super Nintendo, other cousins brought theirs, and we had TVs in a semicircle playing this game. And it was just so fun. Like, you'll play as player one. If you die, you jump to player two after player two dies. And if you die as player two, you jump to the next TV. And it was just a rotation. And we would sit in there from sun up to sundown, breaks to eat and use the bathroom, and listening to music and drinking eggnog. And it was just like a really good time for me.
That's awesome.
So that was like my first introduction into really starting to like video games. Only because we had a console at the house, but it was so hard to get my brother to let me play it. So it was always sneaking behind his back to play it. So the holidays were always a good time for me because I knew for a fact I was playing somebody's video game. I didn't care what it was. But it always fell on Super Mario. And like, to this day, I still play Super Mario. And anytime I boot it up, I've got at least two people with me. Us sharing player one and player two, going through and beating it. So
I had a similar experience, kind of, I don't know, say a repressed memory, but like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, when those games were massive hits, just like having like 10 people over and you're just cycling out instruments. Like somebody pick a song, like, okay, it'd be my turn to pick, and then if somebody else didn't like the song because of the genre or whatever, they would just hand the controller off. Or, you know, later entries, you could have like 3 people, you know, singing. You could have a piano, drums, guitar, bass, and, you know, it was a lot, but you could get everyone involved with it. So those are good ones, I guess. Richard, you got one?
Yeah, it's kind of odd, I guess, but when I think of an association with a game with Christmas, my when the Donkey Kong Country games were first coming out, I can't remember if it was back to back to back as far as the years go, but I kind of feel like they were. Maybe they were separated by like 2 years, but my grandmother would always get me like Donkey Kong Country, and then the following year it was Donkey Kong Country 2. So for whatever reason that imprinted, I guess, you know, I mean, there's been other games that I play right after Christmas, but yeah, for what maybe it's just my age, and it was, you know, last kind of memory of being a kid, but it was playing Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo when those were very first released, because, man, those were solid platformers. They really were.
Well, did you see the DKC 3 is on the Switch online thing now?
Oh, yeah, I pay for that. I mean, Nintendo still milks me, even though I don't like them. They know how to get into my wallet.
I mean, which is it's interesting from a console standpoint, because we've bought those games, you know, some of these games we've bought maybe almost half a dozen times, you know, depending on the platform. Yeah. And that's a thing specific to consoles. I mean, computers, you buy the game, you have it.
Yeah.
That's true. That is true.
Which I know we'll probably talk about the tech deal stuff in a little bit, but like, especially because of, like, you know, Epic Game Store, they're doing that thing where you get a free game every day from now through New Year's. I mean, you get to keep all these for like forever, and like they've actually had some really nice games come out on there.
Yeah.
Well, we need to go ahead and start wrapping up anyway. So, Michael, you want to go ahead and start so we can do some more tech deals?
Yeah. Like Mitch said, I mean, there's let's see, Ubisoft I think has finished their like 12 Days of Christmas, and Epic's still doing theirs, I think, for the next couple of days. Graphics cards, as I found out, have kind of like hit a market limit, I guess, as far as price. Everybody, I guess, was expecting to wait for, you know, all the 3080s, 3070s, 3060s to drop, and then, you know, there wasn't enough. So you kind of saw this market, I guess, bounce because people had to fill orders, people had to make computers, so they just bought out the market because they needed something to finish their builds. And so now every card is at a premium high right now.
Yep. Trying to get prices for a build for someone else. They're not planning on doing anything till like March or April. But yeah, this even finding like an older, like 2 or 3 year old, if not older, graphics card. It was like it was $800. It's
even like 1050s, 1060s. People are price gouging those. So not a good time to buy a graphics card right now. But there are a couple other deals. Lots of other retailers are still doing like Christmas deals, Christmas centered deals and holiday specials, and that'll continue up through the week of New Year's too, I'm assuming. So if you're looking at something small to finish, like maybe polishing a build, keep a lookout for that sort of stuff. But like I said, right now, graphics cards, not a good time to buy.
Yeah. Also, Michael, I don't know the PlayStation ones on top of my head. Maybe you can look it up. But the Xbox games with gold for January were shown off. And the big one on there was Little Nightmares is leading it. So if you've missed out on that one, that's definitely a good pickup. There was another one too, but it was not as big as that. I mean, if you want to consider Little Nightmares big, but don't forget to get your free PlayStation and Xbox games. I think
sure.
they'll start on, I guess, next week.
And even like continuing games. I mean, they have like Spellbreak has a free outfit you can earn. I think Fortnite, I'm assuming, has some sort of holiday special going on. I'm sure. So don't forget to play all your normal daily games and see if there's any holiday content to get.
Yeah. I'm gonna pull up that Games with Gold thing, but while I'm doing that, Steven, you want to go ahead and start plugging your stuff?
Yeah. You can find me on SoundCloud, Breaker Beats 2020. I'm also on Twitch and Twitter. The Breaks, 2 words, the spelt with an A. To be honest, I'm probably not going to be doing much on there, but you can also check out my old content on there. Kind of prioritizing the rest of this year towards family and not production. There's just a lot of stuff going on nowadays in the world, and family means a lot, you know. But yeah, you can find me on there. I do have some things for you to look at, so go check me out.
All right. So just real quick, so the PS Plus games have not been revealed, but as far as the games for Xbox, it is Little Nightmares, remaster of Dead Rising, King of Fighters 13, and an Xbox 360 game called Breakdown.
Breakdown.
So, I know probably people aren't playing King of Fighters, but I mean according to its MSRP rating, it's still a $30 game. So getting that for free is not too shabby. It's actually about $80 worth of free games. But all right, Richard, what you got?
You can check me out at Board Game Breakdown on I drew a blank there, on YouTube. I actually have new content recorded. I'm just not going to drop it during the holidays because I don't want it to get lost in the huffle and shuffle of New Year's and Christmas. So there's probably about 3 or 4 videos that are queued up. They'll drop, right after the first of the year. So definitely like and subscribe to catch those. And working on something else too, but I don't know if I want to bring that up just yet. I want to have a little bit further along, but it's something completely different, but I'm excited about it. So stay tuned.
Sweet. If you want to find me any of my stuff, twitch.tv/MeechFlow and Twitter @MeechFlow. I don't know if I talked about it last week, but I'm having a kind of like a little New Year's party on my Twitch channel next week. So we're going to be playing like a lot of games where I can play together with viewers. So we're going to be playing Smash for a little bit, Among Us, and Jackbox, and what's that other one? Use Your Words, and just cool stuff like that. So any kind of games that where like anyone watching wants to play along, we'll be doing cool stuff like that. Probably start streaming about maybe, I want to say 7 or 8 o'clock. So we'll have plenty of time to play before the ball drops and everything. Also, I meant to mention this at the top of the show. We were having all these technical difficulties and I forgot about it. The long time ago, back before we were doing video versions, I did a special interview with some people from the Smash Brothers community. It's about whenever the fighter Min Min dropped for the game. So that episode and that bit has, it's out there, but it's not on YouTube. Well, day before yesterday, we recorded another one for Steve and Sephiroth. That episode, or that bonus episode, is actually going to be available tomorrow. So you actually get another free hour of content. And I went back and made a video version of the Min Min one, which is actually available now. It should be premiered on the channel. So if you want to catch up, just get some more podcasting stuff in, it's on there. I'm calling them, I don't know if I'll keep the name, but right now I'm calling them Vidocs, like video documentary, whatever. That's what I'm going with. I may change that, but so the Min Min one is up now. It's about 25 minutes long, and then the one for Steve and Sephiroth will be up tomorrow, and it's about almost an hour of just talking about Smash Brothers. So if you're a big Smash fan, you want to chill with some people from the community, Jason Tomlinson is a tournament organizer from Big Dad Games, which is he's a tournament organizer in Hendersonville, Tennessee, so it's very local. And then Jonathan Bly he's a tournament goer. That's how we met, was playing in Smash tournaments. So anyway, there's some extra bonus content, about an hour, close to an hour and a half of extra content for y'all to listen to. But yeah, that's all I got. So
a smashing good time.
Bam. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, all that jazz. And Michael, take us home.
This week's podcast is brought to you by Super Couponers, who use a 50 cents off coupon of a box of hot chocolate that costs 48 cents, so they can get 2 cents back, so they can buy a 38-inch TV, and they're holding up the line in front of you. Have a Merry 2020 Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Santa.